Hey, I just wanted to show you this older article on Mercola's website. It's just about 2 years old, but people still don't even realize this or take this into consideration, and that is the amount of hospital-acquired infections people get. It's more common than people think, and in fact, I don't think people even really think about it at all. So, like for example, we had a home birth. My daughter was born at our house, and a lot of people, pretty much everyone, would tell them when we told them that's what we were doing. They were like, "Oh, I'd be afraid to have my baby at home," and we were afraid to have the baby in the hospital because of all the stuff that's in there. The mistakes that they make. There's so many different reasons. They're going to try to force vaccinations on you. They took my brother's daughter, my niece, as soon as she was born, took her and started taking her to the other room. And my brother had to ask the doctor where they're going. And they were going to vaccinate the baby without even telling them. And, there's all kinds of problems. But a little known problem is the infections that you can get, and this article goes over a little bit of that and a few tests like the colonoscopy, and there's a few other things that they talk about in this article. I'll cover just really quick, but the story at a glance, a few key points. And this is all according to some study that they have linked to in here. 1 in 4 patients in the U.S. end up contracting some form of infection while in the hospital, and 205 Americans die from hospital-acquired infections every day. That's a large number of people, really, if you think about it, especially when you look on the news and all you see is New York Times telling you how deadly the flu is this season, and they're just talking about people are just dying. What they're not talking about is the people that are going to hospitals to get healing, and they end up getting infected with some gnarly stuff. Here's another interesting fact. Hospitals that accept Medicare tend to be riskier than others in this regard, but the FDA does not release the names of hospitals where infections are reported. Non-disposable, flexible medical scopes can transmit infections between patients due to the fact that they cannot be properly sterilized. If you must get a colonoscopy, make sure they clean the scope with peracetic acid. I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced. So, that's a pretty good, that stuff is good to know. I hear people talking about colonoscopies all the time, and so it's good for them to know this. Make sure they're using this particular cleaner. And so if you know someone that may have one coming up in the future or gets them regularly or something like that, share this video with them, because that alone, you might be able to save them from getting an infection. And if they just ask their doctors, go in there with a little bit informed and ask your doctors and make sure that they use that to sterilize. And you can do this before, not when you show up for the surgery. You talk to them before and ask how they're going to do it, how they're going to clean the instrument. Like the video and share it so we can get the word out, because people need to know this. I see this, a lot of people talking about this, getting those done and don't know about the potential risk of infection. And of course, the doctors and stuff, they don't want to tell you that, and they don't want you to even think that. If you come back in there sick, they're not going to be like, "Oh, maybe you got it from us. Would you like to sue?" No. So yeah, contaminated medical scopes implicated in spread of superbug infections. They go into detail about the type of equipment. Like this guy, for instance, he found that dentists were spreading HIV by not properly sterilizing their equipment in the 90s. And so now basically Mercola interviewed him about basically the same thing, the sterilization of endoscopes. So yeah, it's just good to know. Canadian experts dissuade patients from colonoscopies. Here's another thing. I mean, people know about antibiotic resistant bacteria, but I don't know if people really get that this is kind of like the product of these hospitals and their treatment is creating health problems that we've never had before. And this is where we're going to get better, you know. You can go there and get stuff you can't get naturally. You're getting antibiotic resistant. Like, listen to some of this. No less than 18 superbugs were identified as urgent, serious, and concerning threats to humankind. That's the CDC's report in 2013. So this isn't no conspiracy theory. I mean, even the CDC, this is what they think. Serious threat to humankind. They're talking about some of them have body armor that makes it extremely resistant to immune response, and there's an increasing number of bacteria now with pan resistance, meaning resistance to every antibiotic in existence. Yeah, it's pretty bad, stuff. So I'll link to this post in the description below. You can kind of look over some of it if you want. But yeah, you guys, I mean, don't get super freaked out. It's easy, to fall for that propaganda in the news when they're telling you about all these flus. And yeah, it's a bad flu and people are dying, I'm sure. But people are also dying from a bunch of different causes. When you look at the number of people, 400 and something thousand people dying each year because of tobacco, and these cigarette companies, they just put thousands of chemicals in there, and you're smoking a bunch of stuff. You're not just sitting there smoking tobacco, and that's their business. And they've got lots of people hooked, and they're killing 400,000 people per year, far more than the flu, far more than the CDC even claims, and I don't even believe the CDC's number. So check out my other videos if you guys haven't already. I've got some where I just go on about the flu shot. I've got a whole playlist for stuff on vaccines and why they're bad, but also I have solutions too. I have, for example, my last video, I'm showing you how to prevent the flu. It works for me, and so yeah, you can learn a lot of stuff that can really, that you can apply to your life and improve your life. You can see that it works for yourself. So give me a thumbs up, you guys. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll check you out in the next video.